And you're just in time for yet another informative and insightful edition of Business Glide, your go-to channel and particularly show when it comes to matters public policy in Kenya, doing a 360 coverage on matters business and economics. I'm yours truly, Richard Mwenjo. Such a pleasure to always have you on board. And with me to discuss matters in the world of business is none other than renowned public scholar in Eastern Africa, Herman Manyora.
How are you?
Good to see you, sir.
Yes.
Doing Bermuda blue shirt today.
We are there.
This is your color.
These are serious
What
colors.
happened to your red tie? This is the month of love.
I'm not a man of love.
You gave up on love.
No. Not love in that cheap, childish way.
You love all Kenyans.
My love is too serious to be directed in such a narrow path.
Of Valentine's, of 14th February.
Valentine is for small people like you.
All right, let's get straight into the show today. We have seen a number of emerging issues in the world of economics. And particularly, let's start with what was supposed to be a reprieve for many Kenyans who are seeking financial aid, and that's the Hustler Fund. The most recent record we are having, even from the president himself, the pioneer of this entire front, is that 800,000 Kenyans have actually defaulted on their Hustler loans. And what has been offered for them as a reprieve is an extended repayment period. But probably even these 800,000 Kenyans are not going to pay it, at least not many of them. What is your first reaction when you think of the Hustler Fund? It was supposed to be all-inclusive for Kenyans who are even earning 100 bob per day. Now 800,000 cannot even repay it. So what do you think will happen to Hustler Fund within the next 5 years?
Were they meant to pay?
They were meant to pay.
How? I know. This was a government fuliza. A thank you to people for voting for Ruto. One way of saying thank you. It was not, they were not meant to pay. I have told you before, it doesn't make economic sense. Nobody ever gives a loan, a business loan, without first looking at what you want to do with them. What kind of business do you want? Is it a viable business? Can it pay? But if somebody just tells you take money, it does not intend you to pay. At least even these other, unless it's a fuliza. And you see these other fuliza survive on a very simple principle, which retail African, let me not mention the people, which what we call higher purchase survive on. You see, if you go and buy a TV, 20,000. If you buy the same TV on higher purchase, it could be like 50,000.
Absolutely.
Now, research has shown that many people actually want to pay what they borrow. So in the initial, at the pyramid down there, in terms of the month and the repayment, the initial month people pay very well. Then fatigue sets in, then things happen, people lose jobs, things happen in between there, and they fail to pay. So if you get a loan, even this salary, mukopo ya salo, they make sure they recover the money interest in the initial month. You are not paying the principal. Higher purchase the same. So they can survive even with the defaults. Now, these fulizas in this country, they are so-called digital lenders. The interest is so high. It's not even interest. It's a criminal immoral charge. The president himself said it is 3,600%.
Only.
3,600% per annum. So, in other words, you can give to 1 million people. Each, let us say you give it to 1 million people, each 10,000 shillings. If only 400,000 people paid, you are good to go. Can I give you another example?
Yeah, sure.
If you are selling mitumba to people working in the offices, you sell mitumba jackets, let's say trouser, at 500 shillings. If you sell 10 on credit, if 4 people pay, you have made your money. Why? These trousers, you buy them at 100, unaenda unaosha, unapiga pasi. Unauza 400 ama 500. So if 3-4 people pay out of 10, you have your money and profit.
And you're good to go.
So if this one of government tries to give people who using the normal bank rates, the so-called 9-8%, you can't. It can't work because you are dealing with the most high-risk group. A group to which even a bank can give a loan. No bank can give a loan to these people.
Those in the lowest strata.
They are called high risk. So nobody expects this government Fuliza called hustler. People can't pay.
But then again, with the runaway inflation that is being experienced in the Kenyan setup,
yes,
say by the end of 2026, heading towards 2027, the next election,
yes,
do you think Hustler Fund, when the president probably will be launching his second bid, do you think the Hustler Fund thing will probably be laying in peace in a cemetery somewhere?
No,
it will be a thing of the past?
no. The success of the Hustler Fund does not depend on the model of success. The Hustler Fund will be around not because it will have succeeded, that people will have been paying. No. It is a political fund. It will be given life using politics. So the president now says 800,000 people have defaulted. But they are saying they want to pump more money there. So for political reasons, the Hustler Fund will always float. It will not sink because government will always pump money there. If they started with 30 billion, they will add another 20.
It will be probably at 200 billion.
Now they'll add another 10, then 40 billion, then they add 60. As we go to 2026, they add 100 billion. So it will be there, but it will not be a business model. It will be a political model. Fuliza, government Fuliza called Hustler Fund, cannot succeed as a business.
Talking matters using the political financial models for political capital, what do you make of the recent spat between NMS, the now defunct NMS, and the Nairobi County Government, and particularly with regards to the termination of contract of those law enforcement officers, the Askaris? About 700 of them had been employed by NMS. Now Sakaja is terminating their contract even before their due date comes into the space. When you think of Sakaja, at one point he made a promise in his campaign manifesto that he'll absorb all those staff who are under NMS into the county government. Now he's actually going against his word. What do you make of such? And do you think this will portend more danger for Sakaja now that he's just trying to settle into office?
But he'll sack 700 and employ 2,000. So in terms of numbers, they will not affect him. When you sack 700 and employ 2,000, you should have asked me where the problem is. The problem first is this government, from the president now to the governor, must stop this idea that when you come into office, you must sack people. They are what we call the president's men. In our constitution, you can see them. The governor's men. And they are clear. When the president goes, when the governor goes, the ministers go with them. But the public service, the civil servants or the public servants, officers, who are the backbone of the public service and of the country and of the government, should not be touched. It's very bad manners for even anybody to terminate people's contracts merely because their side lost the election or they were appointed by the other person. So long as they have a valid contract, whether they are chairman or president, CEOs in government corporations, county askaris in government of Sakaja, and they have a valid contract, we must not go there. But the bigger problem, of course, is why do we give governors the power to employ people and sack? That's why we get it wrong. They will always employ. Most of these counties, they have overemployed. It's good to employ people, but you cripple the county. The recurrent expenditure is so high. The law demands that every county must not exceed 70%. Many counties exceed. But what the control of budget and the rest don't even know. There are games that are played so that you think development is at 30% when it's actually at 15% or 12%. They are just games you play with the figures. You take money here, you take here. So this money you think It is not paying salary. It has gone to buy maybe vehicles as capital something or whatever it is. But basically it is gone there for people to get back as recurrent. You take it in a place for the books reflect this is capital expenditure and not recurrent.
Recurrent expenditure.
But in actual use, it is recurrent. So we must look beyond the laziness that we are used to as a country and ask ourselves, should we give the governor the power to employ people, sack people? The answer is no.
But then again, don't you think probably Sakaja is trying to breathe life into the recommendations by the president for all devolved governments to actually cut down on their kind of expenditure? So he's trying to get away with the 700 and just trying to do also with the recommendation of SRC. Within the next 5 years, the workforce in the county government should be reduced by significant levels.
I do not buy the idea that people should be sacked. People should be retrained. They started with the word retrenchment, they went to right sizing, downsizing, right sizing, rationalization. All those are stupid words that mean the same. It means a father has gone back to his children
empty-handed.
Empty-handed at the end of the month.
A wounded soldier.
It means you are creating wounded soldiers. It means somebody will not pay their fees for their children because you have sacked them. So you can use any nice word you think. I do not believe this country has enough workers.
Across the sectors.
The public service, for every one public servant, we can employ another 10. It's all a question of what do they do? What do they do? Long before post office died, I asked them, why don't we go do the address system? Where mail is delivered to your doorstep. We name all these houses, which will also help KRA to raise taxes. Because a house has a number and a street. Your mail is delivered and the other services. If post office had started, other services would have followed. So that instead of post office collapsing or sacking people, they would have employed 300 times the number they had. And the other services they would have followed. So that one move from post office of working with the city council and the municipal authorities to have urban houses completely named for purposes of mail delivery, not in the post office, would have set in motion something that would have brought so many other benefits, as many things will now be delivered to people. You get it? And as the taxman will tax people for the houses they own. But we don't think.
Very well, sir.
Yes.
Then, very recently, barely 3 days ago, the National Police Service Commission has actually submitted its proposals to the Maraga-led team, tribunal per se, task force, to look into the affairs of the National Police members. And therein, we've seen recommendations of the Police Commission asking for the government to raise the lowest paid police officer salary from about slightly over 20,000 to slightly above 36,000. You at some point was saying indeed the police need remuneration to be upgraded. What do you make? Should the 36,000 figure be realized? Do you think that is sufficient effort from the government side?
My position is clear. In a presidential debate in 2013, Raila Odinga, Martha Karua, Uhuru Kenyatta, they were asked minimum salary. They were trembling. They were scatting around the question. The minimum salary in Nairobi must be 50,000 shillings. That's the minimum. From my basic calculation and seeing what other smaller countries pay down south here, South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, the minimum salary for, just look at Nairobi with its complexities in terms of transport, in terms of accommodation, in terms of schooling, the least paid Kenyan should get something around 50,000. If we are doing badly, it can be 40,000.
So you're still punching
extremely below. Badly 35,000. Then how do you pay a policeman 36,000? How can 20. That come from the commission? Already the commission is wrong. There's an anomaly of creating Maraga Commission to do that what the Police Service Commission is supposed to do, then work together with SRC, because I can't even know how they are pronounced, because I don't see what they do. SRC with the Police Service Commission and not Maraga, and to point out that the least paid policeman in this country
50,000.
No. 50,000 is for the unskilled laborer in Nairobi.
What?
You scale it down. The least paid policeman in this country, and I want experts to tell me whether I'm wrong. There is economic division in the Ministry of Labor. Let them be honest with us. The least paid policeman in this country should earn about 80,000 shillings.
Very well, there you have it from Herman Manyora, of course, firebrand, a political analyst and public scholar, giving recommendations on how best the country can be governed from a resource governance standpoint, and of course making his analysis on the recent emerging issues when it comes to matters police welfare, when it comes to matters county government workers here in Nairobi, and so much that we've discussed throughout this particular edition. Now time for our fan of the week. It is none other than this group of Kenya Defence Forces soldiers working under the Boni Enclave and Operation Amani Boni. They are our top fans. Many of them reach out to me and they say...
Which Boni is this?
Boni in Lamu. The
Oh,
Boni
these are wonderful guys.
Yeah.
We owe them a lot of respect and kudos, and we really thank them for being true Kenyans and for making a difficult terrain. My brother is now there.
Oh.
Those people are given the buffer land to create a buffer zone between the forest and the civilian population. They are telling me now the army has made it. Kudos to them.
All right.
I say kudos to you young people. Continue defending your country.
We should probably visit them someday soon.
I think we will.
You want a coward?
No, how me? At my age, what do I fear?
Until next time on Business Glide, my name is Richard Mwenja. Always a pleasure. Up next on your screen is the Business Glide African proverb of the day.